Welcome to the webinar. Today's topic is the 9.2.4 upgrade for my Unity. This upgrade has some enhancements to the new claims management feature that I think you're really going to like, and it shouldn't take us long to show you these today. First thing I want to show you, if we go to Financial, Claims, then to the chain link and choose Create New Claims, you'll notice that the pre-bill audit report is no longer an option. This option has been removed because the functionality is now available under Manage Claims. And you'll see that as we go through the enhancements today. Under Manage Claims, your claims grid will now be customizable. So let's look at our March Medicare A claims, find claims. When my claims come up in the grid, I like to click on the resident heading to put them in alphabetical order. And then here at the bottom where it has 10 items per page, change that to 50. That way I have all of my claims on one page. Your grid has several headings, and these headings are now customizable. Over to the right, you have this little gear wheel, and if you click on the gear wheel, it will bring up the headings of the different columns that are available to you. You also have the link to choose Restore to Default. Let's start with Restore to Default. So these are the default headings: invoice number, resident, payer plan, type of bill, begin and end date, date created, claim amount, and status. If we click on the gear wheel, there are additional selections such as resident location, which is the area of your community that the resident is in, such as the health center. Form and format are options that you probably will not use. It tells us what the type of the invoice is, such as a patient invoice, aging patient invoice, or UB04. The claim type is useful. It will indicate if a claim is an ACH claim, or if it is Medicare, if it's a benefits exhaust, or a no pay. So I'm going to select that one because I think it will be helpful to me. You can see that as you make your selection, it changes in the grid immediately. So if I don't want my date created, if that information is not useful to me, I can just take that check mark out. I click out of the list, and then I have my grid the way I want it. So here with my Medicare A claims, I can see which claims are no pay, benefits exhaust, etc. due to this new option. This grid will stay the way that you customize it for you only, and you can change it whenever you want. So if you need it one way when you're doing your Medicare claims and another way when you're doing patient invoices, just change them as you're working on them. As a side note, if you export this grid to Excel, Excel will always have all of the column headings no matter what you have selected for the screen. Remember that you can sort your claims in your grid by any of these columns. So if I want to sort it by claim type, I'm going to have all my regular claims at the top, then I'm going to have my benefits exhaust, and then my no pay. Or I could backwards sort them in order to put my special claims at the top. Sort by status and put all of my claims that have warnings or errors at the top, or my claims that are billed or not billed. Our next new feature is called the Medical Review Report. This report lists basic claim information. To access this, you would select View Claims to, click and choose Create Medical Review Report. It will then highlight all of your claims, and if you don't want all of them included in this medical review report, you can highlight the ones that you don't want to see, and it will not include those. Whenever you're ready, click Create Medical Review Report. You'll then get this message, Medical Review Report created for the selected invoices, View Report. It will then bring up this Claims 1 to 50 link. And here's what the report looks like. It's going to tell you the basic claim information for each claim. Now that first one didn't have anything because it's a no pay, but this one here, it's showing the charges that are on the claim. When you close out of that, you'll be back on your main screen. Let's switch now to our Medicare B claims. Again, I can sort by any heading that is helpful to me. I'm going to change it to alphabetical. And we now have a new option available under the action button, and that is the claim overrides. If we click under the action button to view claim, I'm just going to view our first one here. You have options that were not available before across the top of the claim. First, you have a print button so that you can print directly from this screen. In conjunction with that, you have the Show Form Labels option, so that if you need to print on the red and white claim form, you can take this check mark out and then wait while the claim refreshes. You'll also have the arrows over here next to the invoice number. These arrows allow you to go quickly from claim to claim without having to close out and go down to the next one and click View. All I need to do is click this arrow and it will take me to the next claim. You'll notice that the form labels come back, so I would need to take those out again if I wanted to print it on the red and white claim form. If your claim has errors, you'll have this message across the top, please address validation errors, and you can click to show errors, and it will tell you exactly what it doesn't like about your claim. If I close out of this, then I'm back on the main screen again. So the pre-bill audit functionality can be addressed by finding a claim that has the status of error, click Action, and select View Errors and Warnings. This will bring up whatever errors exist on the claim, and each error is a link, just like it was in the pre-bill audit report, and it will take you to the screen where you can correct that error. So my first error was saying that the occurrence code 11 was missing, and if I click on that error, it's going to take me to my claim override screen. And here, it's explaining why that is an error. Occurrence code 11 is required with the admitting diagnosis onset date. So I'll show you a little trick. If you happen to have these two errors together, occurrence code 11 and the primary diagnosis code is missing, if I add the diagnosis code and enter the onset date, that's going to take care of my 11 code problem, because it will pull that 11 code from the onset date of my diagnosis. So I really only need to fix this one error. I'm now going to enter a diagnosis code. Now in this instance, the diagnosis is already there. So number 1, spot, and it does have an onset date. So I think this claim has already been corrected and it needs to be refreshed. I'm going to go back to my claim. To refresh it, remember you click on Action and choose Refresh Claim. Click OK. Here's my refreshed claim. Now I'm going to click Action, View Claim. And there I can see my 11 code, as well as my diagnoses. Let's go back to viewing all my claims, taking out the invoice number, clicking Find Claims. And you can see that Ghostbuster did not have any errors anymore if you look at the status. But let's go down and look at the next one that has an error. I'm going to click View Errors and Warnings. And the handy thing about this is that you can fix the error and then go directly to the next claim with errors by clicking on the arrow. If I click on the arrow, it's going to take me to the next claim that has errors. Now in this case, when you have these FL errors, and here it says it's missing the address information, that tells you there's something wrong with the address. So I'm going to click on that. It's going to take me to his demographics. And here I can see the issue is that his address is marked as home, and it needs to be billing address. And I can then come back to here and click Refresh Errors. So then I'm going to refresh my claim for me. Now it still has an error, so I'm going to click Action, View Errors and Warnings. And this time I have a different error, or it was there before, I just didn't notice it because of all the address errors. Occurrence code 11 and the primary diagnosis code cannot be missing. So I'm going to put in a diagnosis code, 6, okay? Remember to enter an onset date, save and close. And now I can refresh errors. Because I entered the onset date on the diagnosis code, the occurrence code 11 error should also go away. So now it has refreshed the claim, and there are no longer any errors on my resident. I'm going to go back to viewing all my claims. Remember, when you click View Errors and Warnings, you can go from claim to claim by using these arrows. When we're viewing errors and warnings, it will only take you to claims that have errors or warnings. And this allows you to preview your errors and fix them and refresh them. Thank you for viewing our webinar today. I hope you enjoyed it. Please check out our other webinars, such as the 9.2.3 upgrade.